Do you think that you're going to end up with more of a dad bod? I saw some pictures that your wife was posting on Instagram recently, and you look
Oh
like
my
you're
God.
one weekend better from being on the Dad Bod podcast.
This is hilarious that you bring this up. This is so funny because nobody's believing me. I've gained 12 to like 15 pounds in the last month. And I was showing Aubrey my belly. I'm not kidding. This was just yesterday. And I go, Aubrey, this is not pushing. She's like, you're pushing it out. I'm like, no, I'm not. There's like an actual like donut around the front. And I don't have like a flat like ab system going anymore. It's like I actually have a belly.
I
It's
love it.
gross.
DJ is the skinniest person in the world, and now he's getting a dad bod, and we're going to get loaded. All right. Welcome to the Loaded Box Podcast.
Where we never finish first because we finish last.
Thank you once again for tuning into the Loaded Box Podcast. I am Ben Morgan. That is DJ Dad Body Primo. Man, for people that have seen you before and that who know you listening to this podcast, they're going to be shocked next time you see you are putting on the pounds like you're getting ready to. It's almost like you're bulking up for training camp.
I legitimately said to my wife right before this, I go, Ben and Kevin were making fun of how they thought I had a dad bod like a year ago. I did not. I was skinny then. Now, when you guys see me, you guys are both gonna just drop jaws here.
love
I
it.
can't believe. I'm actually gonna have to start working out. I'm just gonna do ab workouts because
You realize in order
I
to get
don't allow
abs, you
this.
still need to actually move around and cut calories, and then the ab workouts come in. That's how
I mean,
that works.
I play softball on Wednesday and Thursday
There you
nights.
go. You can do a couple sprints to first base. That's.
Yeah, I drink beer the entire time, but that's beside the point.
I love it. Well, this is the
Yeah.
Loaded Box Podcast, and we are back today. Last week we had Mitchell Renz on of Chat Sports to do Two Truths and a Lie Fantasy Football Edition. And now we are back to do our positional fantasy rankings. So we already made our way through the quarterbacks. We've done 24 of those, and today we are doing running backs 13 through 24. We'll go through our rankings. We'll talk about whether or not we're targeting those guys, whether or not we think their ADPs are spot on, whether they're a little high, or if they're maybe a little too low. So DJ, you're a big fan of your past successes on predicting running back. So would you say that this is probably your position of strength when it comes to fantasy rankings?
This is my position of strength when it comes to pretty much any area. My scouting, of my ranking guys, of my looking for a guy to pick up off the free agency wire in the middle of the season. Jerick McKinnon was like my guy to get before everybody else. 2 weeks, 2 weeks at a time, I said pick up Jerick McKinnon. Boom, he busts out for a couple 20-point games.
Right.
He was great. It's one of those things that I take pride in being able to pick out guys that I think that just are successful. I mean, you've heard it before, you've seen it. So yeah, I take pride in my running back.
DJ takes
assessments.
pride in his running back pickups. I take pride in my kicker rankings. So with that, DJ, why don't you go ahead and run through your list, and then we will shoot through these players.
I don't like. You need to adjust your screen. I don't like that I can only see under your nose, only your nose and above.
Oh, I'm
It's
sorry.
bothering me.
I'll move for this audio-only podcast so that you can see me.
I know, but it's bothering me. I want to see your titties.
I am
right.
topless for the third consecutive podcast. It's too hot to wear a shirt.
I'm gonna run through quickly. I've got 24. I got Ronald Jones. 23, Tevin Coleman. 22, Jerick McKinnon. 21, Mark Ingram, moving down because of the suspension. 20, Marlon Mack, which is going to be a shocker for
Ooh,
people,
that is
but
a
I like him.
shocker.
19, Alex Collins, which is kind of what they talk about him. 18, Lamar Miller. 17, Aaron Jones. Another guy in a 2-game suspension, probably be higher for me if he wasn't.
Shocker.
And 16, Kenyon Drake.
Shocker.
15, Christian McCaffrey. 14, Sony Michel. And 13, Derrick Henry.
All right.
Probably surprised the whole entire group.
Here goes mine, and then we'll run through them. 24, Deion Lewis. 23, Tevin Coleman. 22, Lamar Miller. 21, Jerick McKinnon. 20, Jay Ajayi. You did not mention him. I can't look wait to talk about that one. Number 19, Alex Collins. Number 18, Mark Ingram. 17, another guy you didn't have, Shady McCoy, who's rather shady these days. 16,
There's a reason, though.
Yes. 16, Kenyon Drake. 15, Derrick Henry. 14, Joe Mixon. 13, I'm not going to say yet. I want it to be a surprise. You've got to make people wait for this one because it's going to be the shocker of the episode. So
Actually,
that's my 13th guy is to be determined. I'm going to let you hang on that one.
I don't know what it is, and I'm not going to look now. So I'm
looking forward to it. Well, let's go to your 24th ranked guy.
Right, 24th, I have Ronald Jones. Honestly, the closer we get to the season, I might even move him up higher than this. I feel like I have a lot of changes I feel like I still want to make for the running back position. So I think in like
it's never ending. I agree with that.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot more that I want to do. So I don't think any of these are set in stone at all. So I think in 2 weeks you're going to see a huge difference between these 12 guys. Anyways, so I had Ronald Jones at 24. I project him to be moving up. I just like the fact that they drafted him in the first round. I feel like he's going to be a focus on this offense. I feel like he's going to get a lot of receptions.
I think he might have been second round, but close enough.
Or second round, sorry. Yeah, he was second round. I'm wrong. I think he's going to be a focal point. And when Jameis gets back with all those weapons they have on that Buccaneers offense, and Jackson and Mike Evans, and then the 2 tight ends,
right.
Howard and Cameron Brate, he's not even going to be a focus. And I think he's just going to be a matchup issue and a guy who's going to get the ball a lot. I think he gets a lot of work. There's no running back on that team that makes me nervous. What is it, Peyton Barber, and is Quiz still there? Yeah, so it's just based off of workload. I think he's going to get a lot. I don't have a great report on him. I watched him a few times this off season. I don't like him in the future, but I do like him for.
Interesting.
I don't like him dynasty wise, but I do like him this year. I think he's going to turn into more of a how do I say, mismatch problem in the future than a three down running back.
Yeah. So I was not a huge Ronald Jones fan, even coming into the draft. And when he went to Tampa Bay, I didn't mind it. Like you said, I think he's going to get some volume, but I don't like it enough to put him in my top 24 running back. So he's just outside of it. I did move him up in our latest, in the latest rankings when we did our last update. I did move him up, but not quite into the top 24. I agree with you. I think they're going to try to feed him the ball. They didn't draft him to sit him. Like you said, there's not a ton of competition there. So, yeah, he's going to get the touches. I'm a little nervous about the Buccaneers right now. You got the whole Winston situation. You've got a rookie running back that you're going to trust to be, if you're drafting him there, he's probably going to have to be your running back too. And have you wanted a Tampa Bay running back at all recently? What makes you think that they're going to maybe commit to the run? And if they are, is Ronald Jones the kind of guy that's going to be able to stay healthy that long and take that kind of workload? I just don't think he is. I think they should have taken a different running back at that spot, and then I would have loved the pick. I just don't think Ronald Jones was the guy for this job. So I'm probably not targeting him because I think his ADP is just a round or two probably higher than where I would want to take him.
Yeah, I don't hate. God dang, I've had voice problems all day. I don't know what's going on. I sound like you. What's his ADP right here? I've got it right here. It's 5.06. He's going, 5th pick, 6th round. About running back 26.
Yeah.
I mean, that's about where I have him. I have him 2 ahead of that. It's pretty near. Where do you have him ranked, you said?
I didn't have him on my top 24. I have to pull it up to figure it out. I know
you have him. Okay. I'm assuming it's pretty near where we kind of both have him ranked if you average it out. I mean, I don't hate him there. Running backs are guys I'm going to just go after this year. I'm just going to start picking them up, so that I can try to get a guy that's like Alvin Kamara. If he can be this year's Alvin Kamara, maybe not, but maybe he can be his own guy.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to go after him. So running backs are at a premium. I don't think 5.06 is too early because you got to look for those diamonds in the rough, man.
I have him as running back 32, so he's a little ways out. He's in that next tier for me. So let's jump to your number 23 guy.
All right, 23, I have Tevin Coleman.
Samesies.
I mean, yeah, we both have Tevin Coleman. He finished last year as running back 22, I believe. I think that's right. I just looked at it here. Yeah, running back 22. 628 for 5 touchdowns, 299 receiving yards, and 3 touchdowns in the air. So that's 8 total touchdowns. and they're just going to continue to flank him and Devontae Freeman together and just use that. I mean, use those two consistently, whether it's a passing game. He's great in PPR. I think I'd rank him even higher PPR leagues just because I think he's going to get plenty of receptions. But again, another team with a bunch of weapons, a guy that's not going to have a lot of focus on him, who just kind of sneaks up on you. 8 touchdowns last year.
Right.
That's more than I thought.
It definitely is.
Yeah. And, just under 1,000 total yards. So he's a guy who's consistently inside the top 24. It feels like he's a consistent player as long as he stays healthy. I like Tevin Coleman a lot. And if Devontae Freeman gets hurt and you have him on your team,
money.
Impossible for someone to get him almost as a handcuff because you got to take
right.
him real close to each other. So most likely it's going to be another person who owns Tevin Coleman who's got a diamond, in the rough there if Freeman gets hurt. So those numbers just shoot up even higher.
Right. Yeah, we both had him at 23. He's going as the 5th pick in the 7th round, which is the 33rd running back. So I think he's underrated there. You hit it on the head. It felt like a quiet year last year because 2 years ago he had the 11 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And he combined for around 1,000 yards. And then last year he still scored 8 touchdowns and still combined for right around 1,000 yards. So I've said this on multiple podcasts in a row now. I think Atlanta's offense starts to click a little bit more in year 2 under Sark.
That's crazy. It's crazy to me he's getting drafted behind Ronald Jones, actually.
Yeah. No, I think they're going to continue to utilize them both.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I targeted Coleman pretty high last year. I think I made a little bit of a mistake, maybe a little bit too high compared to where he was. But yeah, I like his situation. If Freeman doesn't get hurt, that's fine. He's still going to get his touches. But yeah, exactly what you said. If Freeman does go down, it's not a guy you're obviously going to be able to take off the waiver wire. You're getting the top running back on a team that on paper at least should have like a top 7 offense. Whether that translates or not, who knows? But if he were to get some bulk carries, man, he could finish as a top 15, 12 running back.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. If you're 7.04, I would 100% take him in the 5th round. I actually would. I don't have any hesitation taking Tevin Coleman in the 5th round to make sure I get him on my team as maybe 2, maybe 3. I would love him as my 2 running back, but in the 5th round,
right,
I may have him as my 3rd running back.
Yeah.
And he's a RB2 running back year after year, I think.
Yeah, and he'd be an awesome flex, especially in half and full.
He'd be more than an awesome flex. He'd be a great RB2, and then the potential that you could get him as a flex is just great. There's no reason he's dropped to the 7th round.
Right. Who's your 22nd ranked guy?
22, I have Jerick McKinnon. Jerick McKinnon, I don't know. I know Mitchell made we talked about him pretty extensively last week, right?
Yeah.
He made a lot of cases for him. I feel like we're forgetting about Matt Breida, who I think is going to take a lot more carries away from Jerick McKinnon than what people are expecting. He may be a good PPR guy. He may be like Christian McCaffrey as of last year, but I cannot imagine taking him where he's going, which is what, 3rd round, I'm guessing? And
ninth pick in the 2nd round.
9th pick in the 2nd round. Okay. Oh, I got 8th pick in the 2nd round here. Same difference, though. So 2.08, 2.09 from what Ben says. Especially in regular scoring leagues, I can't fathom grabbing him as my number 1 potentially running back. That is on a guy who's never. I just saw some stats. This guy. I saw a list. I should retweet it after this of guys who finished with more than 20 more explosive runs, so 20 yards plus than him, and it was like Adrian Peterson was one of them. It was unbelievable list of guys who had more explosive plays than Jerick McKinnon. He's never had to take on a load in his career, and I honestly think he's just going to be used as a change of pace mismatch problem as well. It's to me, it's like another Ty Montgomery, Darren Sproles type guy, but I still think Matt Breida, who also can catch the ball and can catch out of the backfield, is a solid running back. They like him there. So I don't know. I feel like people are really underrating Matt Breida, and he's a guy I'm actually going to be trying to sneak up later rounds,
right.
12, 13. Yeah.
Yeah, we're really similar on our McKinnon rankings because I got him 21st. Like I said, he's going as an 8th or 9th pick in the 2nd round. Running back 14. I think that's overvalued at that ADP. Loved McKinnon going to San Francisco, but the jump that we saw in his ADP over the last couple of months is just out of control. I think Mitch did cool me down a little bit on my McKinnon hate on the last pod. He made a great point about Shanahan running backs, but I just can't justify right now a second rounder on a guy he's never topped 160 carries. He's had under 4 yards per carry his last 2 seasons in Minnesota. And despite the hype that he has as a receiving back, he's only had 1 season over 400 receiving yards, and he only has 5 career reception touchdowns. So, yeah, I'd love to draft McKinnon this year, but not in the second round. So I think with how high he's picked, I don't think that I'm going to be able to get him this year. Not saying he's a bad player or that he can't help your fantasy team. It's just a little too rich with all that uncertainty that surrounds him.
Yeah, I mean, the Vikings used him when they had to, but once they got Latavius back, they used Latavius first and second down, and then put McKinnon in on there, and then when they had to in third down situations. And after those, 2-3 games that he had great games, production dropped way back down to the norm. And I think that's something you're going to see as long as Matt Breida can stay healthy there in San Francisco. I think you're going to see a similar thing. I don't think you're going to see a 1-2-3 down back. I don't see it.
Right. Yeah. His production dropped significantly if you look at his game by game after a couple of stud weeks. Like it really came back down to earth.
And that's because Latavius wasn't fully healthy up till that point that when he did come back, that's when McKinnon's numbers went way down.
Right. Who do you have right before McKinnon?
McKinnon, I have Mark Ingram. I might have dropped him too far. I mentioned in our mock draft article that I posted today. Who was it? I think it was either Mikey. I think it was Mikey who drafted him in the 6th or 7th round. Mm-hmm. And when I saw that pick, I was so mad at myself that I didn't grab him around earlier, because this is a guy who finished 6th in points last year.
Right.
And that's another reason I don't think Kamara is going to be particularly that great in the first 4, because in the article I wrote, they need each other. Like,
I totally agree with that.
They need each other. They complement each other so well. Their games complement each other. The Saints know how to use them. Sean Payton is an offensive mind that I would love to have as my head coach in Green Bay. It's the focus is going to go so much more on him before Mike Ingram comes back, and then you're going to see the huge difference. Ingram's going to go back, and then they're going to be able to just put both those guys on the field, use these in different situations. You never know what they're going to do with either one of them on the field, because Mark Ingram is an underrated pass catcher as well.
Yep.
So they were able to take advantage of both their strengths, and I think that's going to hurt
Kamara.
Yeah, Kamara in those first 4 games. But once Ingram comes back, I expect you to see him energized. He's going to come out with no issues at all, and he's going to get fused right back into where they left off last year. And then you're going to get a guy who finished as a top 6. If you're missing him for 4 games, he may not finish as a top, 10 running back, but from week to week, he might have, top 6 points per game once he returns.
Easily.
So you're getting those numbers going into the playoffs. Shit, 7th round was a steal. He's going 4th round.
Yeah, late 4th, early 5th.
4.11, right around Sony Michel.
Yep.
There. So, he's a guy that I was really mad at myself, and I was really mad at everybody, because I just feel like we just kind of overlooked him when we just kept passing, and I think that was one of the issues with the mock draft, just because we were kind of going back and forth. It was a slow draft, and it wasn't like a real draft, so people weren't as serious. But it was still, it was good, but I think people are going to pass too far on Mike Ingram, and I really want to be the guy that scoops in and takes him.
Yeah, that's great value there. Like you said, if he's going late 4th, early 5th, and Mikey got him in the 7th, that's probably one of the best values you could have had. And we're pretty similar on him, because I have him 18th. I think that's really good value if you're getting him at running back 25, where he's going off the board. I think he's good value there if you set your team up to succeed the first 4 weeks without him. So what I mean by that, if you can target a guy maybe with an easy beginning of the schedule who isn't what fantasy football community thinks is like a top running back that you're going to have to spend a high pick on. So those kind of guys, I'm looking at like a Tariq Cohen, a Frank Gore, a Rex Burkhead. Use those guys the first couple of weeks. And then if you can draft Mark Ingram in the 5th or 6th round, by week 5, you're going to have a stud in Ingram from last year anyways. And then you can use the guy that you've been using the first 4 weeks in flex or spot play moving forward, because they're still going to produce. So this is probably the way that I would target Ingram. otherwise you're not really prepared for a quarter of the season without one of your best running backs. So those are kind of the guys that I have in mind that you won't have to spend a high round draft pick on, but have easier matchups in the first 4 weeks, and then boom, there comes Ingram, there comes your top 12 running back.
If you're taking Ingram as your second running back, I am more than okay with that, but you need to go on the strategy, which I think I'm going to go with. It's just start smashing running backs. Like, I'm not drafting quarterback. I'm not drafting tight end at all until about 10th. So I'm just going to be hammering running backs, throwing in a couple wide receivers in there up till that 10th round. And you just rotate those guys based off of matchups and who pops. And then you get fucking Mark Ingram back to plug him into that second running back spot, and you're good to go.
Yeah, that'd be
and
the
then you
exact
maybe
way
have
to
one
do
guy
it.
who's a monster.
Right. Nope. We're on board with that one. Who do you got in front of Ingram?
I've got Marlon Mack, return of Mack. Number one, I'm really excited. Lots of people are talking about Nyheim Hines and who's the other fucking guy there.
Move on.
Whatever. You don't know either.
I can't remember his name right now.
In Indianapolis. But I don't think you could forget about Marlon Mack. He did a lot of things that I saw on the field when he got a chance that I liked. He has explosiveness to get around the edge, and that lower center of gravity to get around corners that guys can't get and stay down the sideline and find holes in situations that people can't find. He's a guy I like to be a reception monster and be a go-to guy inside the 10-yard line when Andrew Luck's running a shotgun, Peyton Manning style, and just handing him off on a little draw play and grabbing 10-yard touchdowns, 9-yard touchdowns every now and then. I think Marlon Mack will end up being the RB1 on here. I think he's going to be very successful because Andrew Luck's going to be there. I don't think either one of these two guys are going to pass him because I do think he will get the first shot. If he doesn't succeed, then one of those other guys will. But you need a guy. Andrew Luck needs a guy who gets hit that's been there for at least a couple of years. So I'm not going to run a rookie out there, the guy who's I'm trying to protect, and Andrew Luck. I don't know. I like his wiggle. I like his speed. I like his lower center of gravity where he can squeeze in between tight places. I'm excited to see what Marlon Mack can do, and I'm probably going to be grabbing him a couple of times ahead of other people. I may be dead wrong on it. I don't care.
Yeah, he didn't make my top 24. Actually, he's 36, so he's like a tail end RB3 for me. I did move him up a little bit, and I think he might jump up a little bit more if all of this Andrew Luck, I'm back kind of rumor deal is actually true. Because look at what you could get out of Frank Gore as a later round pick when he was playing with Andrew Luck. Marlon Mack has got probably a better skill set right now than a guy like Frank Gore, and he was still producing as long as Andrew Luck was the quarterback. And now they've added a couple pieces to the offensive line. I still don't think they're going to be a complete offense, but with Andrew Luck, they do become at least a threat. So you want the running back that's on that team. I'm not quite as high on him. I did have him in a league last year, and you were right. He got a couple of opportunities where he would catch a touchdown or he would run one in, and he made some highlight plays. And then the next week, you'd plug him into your lineup thinking that you had something there, and he'd hardly even see the field. He was not scoring on a consistent basis. So I'd like to see a little bit more before I become an actual Marlon Mack believer. And then the fact that they drafted these other two running backs and there is hype around them, that kind of cools me a little bit more. But I think in today's league, you need multiple running backs anyways, unless you have a guy like Zeke Elliott or David Johnson. You're going to need guys that you can plug and play. Because I don't think Marlon Mack is at that echelon where he's going to be your workhorse. So I understand the draft picks. But if you're targeting him in his ADP and fantasy, I get it. I just don't quite know if he's the guy for me. So not really much on my radar. Sorry.
I mean, his ADP 6.09.
It's not terrible.
His running back 31. That's right in between where you and I basically have him ranked. Dude, I don't know. I like him. They didn't make running back a priority to draft.
No.
I mean, they got and he was it was a product of a shitty offense with Frank Gore there. They didn't. I mean, last year, I'm not going to put much stock into that. I put it in stock off of his overall ability that I saw with my eyes when he did get some chances. I liked it. I honestly like what he has to bring with the table as a runner.
Return of the Mac. That's going to be your fantasy team when you draft him in every single league.
Yeah, I might do it. He could pull an Isaiah Crowell on me. You never know.
That's very true. Screw that. Run away. All right, who do you got in front of Mac?
I have Alex Collins at 19. He's not a guy I'm particularly excited about or high on, but he's a guy who's, again, he's going to get a lot of volume. He's going to catch some passes. I know you and I didn't think that the Ravens were a team that threw the ball to running backs much, and then you looked it up, and we were wrong.
Yeah.
Apparently, they throw it up there with the most, we'll see, with like highest teams in the league. Alex Collins is really he's the guy on the team that doesn't have much challenges as long as he doesn't fumble, as long as he stays healthy. So he's going to get that volume. They're a team that's going to put it on the ground a lot. They're not going to let Joe Flacco fuck it up and
They're
throw
going to put it on the ball a lot from all those incomplete passes.
And if Lamar Jackson gets in there, he's got even more opportunities with a two-guy threat. But with the volume, the opportunities, he'll get some, some goal line opportunities. That defense will set him up with some decent field position every now and then. I just put him there just because of volume. Not a guy I'm excited about.
Yeah.
He's a guy that's going to just grind out some good yards, a few touchdowns, and be maybe a solid anchor player for you, but he's probably a guy that I'm just going to overlook because I'm dumb like that, and I look for these explosive guys like Aaron Jones and Marlon Mack that I think are going to get. But if you're a guy who's grabbing him, I think you're going to get very consistent numbers from game to game.
Yeah, he's my 19th running back. He's going basically tail end of the third, early fourth, running back 20. I think it's proper value, but this one, like you, it worries me a little bit. I do like what I saw from Alex Collins last year. If you remember, I think it was a Thursday night game against the Dolphins. That's when I saw him the most, and he absolutely torched them. But I'm worried about the Ravens' offense and scoring points in general. I don't like fantasy guys on low-scoring teams. Especially if you're taking him in the third or fourth round, that worries me. The good thing about the Ravens this year is I think their defense is going to be really good, so they shouldn't get too far down, causing them to become one-dimensional. But as an late third, early fourth, you're basically saying Collins is going to be an every-week starter, and that gives me a little bit of hesitation. So like you, not totally avoiding him, he just might be that guy when I'm up and I see like some other names that kind of just get my mind going a little bit more than Alex Collins. He's a guy that I could easily pass on.
Yeah, I mean, look, his stat line was 973 yards rushing and 6 touchdowns. That's a solid year. Yeah. That's not a guy that I'm excited about because I think he's going to finish right around the exact same thing, maybe a little less yards. I don't know, maybe another touchdown, maybe not. But it's not something you don't have this huge high ceiling with him.
Right.
Right.
But
your floor isn't that low either, so you're getting a solid guy like a Frank Gore of past years.
Yep.
That I'm personally just not excited about because you know what? He doesn't give us the numbers to talk about. But, we're talking about him too much because people are bored probably just hearing his name.
Hey, he flies under the radar. He's got dreads. He looks cool when he runs, man.
Yeah.
Target this guy.
We're talking about too much. We should probably move on.
All right, who do you got?
Holy shit! I have Lamar Miller at number 18. I didn't think I had him in my top 24.
Yourself.
He might be. He's going to be dropping out of the 24 probably. I honestly, I don't know what to think about the running backs in this offense. This guy looked real good when he played for Miami. Real good in his last year at Miami. Not as good anymore. Seems like he has some issues, but he can, finding holes and, I don't know, just making shit happen. But with Deshaun Watson running the ball and the threat to run, I think you have to vault him up a little bit as he is their number one running back for now. I worry about D'Onta Foreman. Honestly, he was my biggest worry for Lamar Miller. He's going in the fourth round at the fourth pick, 4.04. It's too rich for my blood. He's not a guy I'm particularly going to target in that area. I think he's a little overrated there because of D'Onta Foreman and just his struggles you've seen out of him in the past couple of years. But he hasn't, I guess he hasn't put up terrible numbers. He finished as running back 14.
Doesn't he just seem like a guy with loaded potential that just never gets unleashed on a week-to-week basis?
No, exactly it. And I don't know. Because there were some games where I just was it last year he had like a dirty receiving touchdown where he just did something. Did he bobble the ball and did some spinny shit or something like that? And that was like a primetime game, I thought. But I just, I see plays like that. He does that every now and then where he just looks super athletic and he's got that breakaway speed. And I think the explosiveness is one of those things that really tricks people. But I just don't think he has the vision that he needs to be just a really successful running back. I think his time in the NFL as a starter is kind of running out here.
He's slowly getting older, man. He's been in the league for a while now.
He is.
Yeah, I've got him ranked 22nd. I think that's properly ranked because that's actually exactly where his ADP sits. I think he is the 22nd ranked running back, 5th pick, 4th round. I was crazy high on Miller last year. I'm not going to lie. That didn't work out so great for me. But you talked about him playing with Watson. He was averaging right around about 15 fantasy points per game last year when Watson was playing. So if you could stick with that, that value is legit. But I, with you, think Foreman sees more action this year if he can stay healthy. But Miller is still a good all-around running back. And even though he's been in the league for a few years now, he's a guy with not many mileage, that kind of low mileage. He never really got the bulk of the carries when he was the guy in Miami. Like, they never fed him, even though he would start the game and do really well, and then they would just slowly phase him out, and it never made sense.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm fine with Miller in the fourth as my second running back. I think he's still in a better situation than several of the other like guys that are in running back by committees that are falling in that running back range, like 18 to 25. So I'm cool with Miller. I'm just not as cool as I was on him this last year. Like I had him too high. I'll admit I had him too high last year. But if he's there in the fourth, I'm not totally opposed to it.
My ADP I have for him on Fantasy Football Calculator is 4.04.
Yep.
And running back 22. You said 5.05.
Oh, I said 4.05. Maybe I said the wrong number.
Oh, I thought you said 5.05.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who's next?
Aaron Jones.
Ooh.
Now, he does have 2 games of suspension. People are high on Jamal Williams. Now that he has
Aaron
those
Jones
2 games.
Is just high.
Yeah, he is just high, whatever. But, I mean, who's not smoking weed? Really? I mean, Jamal's probably smoking weed too. I mean, his name's Jamal, for Christ's sake. So, Aaron Jones is a guy who's maybe the most explosive running back. Had some of the, I think, the most explosive plays per carry or something like that last year. I just see that a lot on the old Twitter sphere. But he has the vision of a running back that can succeed in this NFL. He's got that, again, I love low center gravity guys who have good agility and good vision. I favor guys like that. Aaron Jones is one of those guys. He's explosive. He can block, contrary to what Mitchell Renz keeps claiming that Jamal Williams is a better pass blocker. That's not true. Aaron Jones is just as equal as pass blocker as Jamal Williams. He just missed some games and got the opportunity. And he's actually a better pass catcher than Jamal is. So I just, with all those things put together, when Aaron Jones gets back there, he's going to have a field day with Aaron Rodgers, and he's gonna split carries right away. So he's going to come back game 3, and then he's going to get rotated in with Jamal Williams and Ty Montgomery, and then the next game it's going to get a little bit more, and then about game 3 or 4 that he's there, he's going to take over that offense. You're going to see big numbers from this guy. I mean, you're going to see I think you're going to see quite a few 100-yard games, 100-yard and 1 rushing touchdown games out of this guy. He brings something to this offense as a running back that we haven't seen since, I can't even say Ryan Grant because he just ran straight and really fit hard. I'm trying to think of the last good running back the Packers have had. I mean, really good. Ahman Green, he's the closest thing to Ahman Green, who's the leading rusher in the Green Bay Packer history. He's the closest thing to Ahman Green that we've had for about 20 years here, 15 to 20 years.
Yeah, I cooled off on Aaron Jones a little bit. Like you said, you got him, 17 or so?
17.
You got him 17. I've got him 38. So he dropped a little bit for me because of that suspension. I'm a little leery that maybe he didn't prove quite enough that when he does get back, they're just going to be like, oh, hey, here's your starting role. Here's all the carries. You said 4th week. I mean, that's fine, but you're asking a lot potentially on where you might end up having to take him for a guy who's coming off a suspension and then maybe he has to kind of prove himself a little bit because he's only a second-year guy, and it's not like he was a super high draft pick either. So I've cooled on him. He was my targeted guy. The suspension kind of really turned me off on him.
That's fine.
The whole backfield is kind of a mess to me now. I was leaning Jones. Now I'm just kind of leaning towards avoiding it. And that could be a mistake because I do like players in big play offenses, and I think that's what the Packers could be. But this Aaron Jones suspension just makes it a little bit more cluttered for me, so it's making me just kind of want to just totally avoid the situation. So he's not in my wheelhouse right now.
With Aaron Jones out, I favor Ty Montgomery over Jamal Williams personally. Aaron Jones is a combination of the two, honestly. Like he has a bit of both, but he does everything better than both those guys as well. Jamal Williams is just kind of a straight-ahead runner who needs holes to be there. As you saw as the season went on, when he started, he couldn't do shit because his offensive line wasn't as healthy. That's why Aaron Jones came in and succeeded. Then he got injured. Line got healthy. Jamal Williams succeeded with a better offensive line. But Ty Montgomery, I think he's going to cause mismatch problems there. He's better. He's going to be better out of the shotgun. Has a better rapport with Aaron Rodgers. I just don't see Jamal Williams being as successful there in that Packer offense this year as what people think he's going to be. I think it's going to be mostly Ty Montgomery and then switch over to Aaron Jones when he gets back.
Well, you're the running back guru. You're the in-house Packers guru. So yeah. I'm going to lean on you on this one.
Perfect.
I'm not going to bump him up right now. That suspension killed me. Who do you got in front of him, and what number are you on here?
Number 16. We're moving slow. So I moved Kenyon Drake up a lot compared to where I have. I can't remember. I had him mid to late 20s, probably even in the early 30s, potentially. But I moved him all the way up to 16. I decided to go through and watch some old highlights of him, some old running back reels of him last year when he got his real chance. And he's bigger than I thought he was. He's a little bigger than I thought he was. I thought he was more of a, and maybe it was from college, but I thought he was a little skinnier, more of that third down back that just caught passes and that's about it. But that guy, he's got some beef. He's got some muscle. He's a guy that can actually run in between the tackles. He's explosive as fuck when he gets a chance to. And the guy's got some wiggle, man.
He does. He's got great wiggle.
There's a guy.
I love
this
the
is
wiggle
another
call.
guy. This is another guy. He's got great vision. I underrated his vision. I went back and watched him, and I don't think anybody's gonna. I don't think Kalen Ballage, I don't think Frank Gore are gonna eat into this guy's reps. He is great out of the backfield because, like, NFL is all about matchups. He's going to be on the field to catch the ball, but I also think he's a really good runner. And I do believe, after looking at him more and watching him run, that he can be a three-down back. And I'm probably giving you a boner, but I'm shooting Kenyon Drake up my rankings.
Well, you really got me going was when you pulled off the Ron Jaworski, I truly believe.
I do. I don't know what it is. I just went back and I watched him more closely. Well, and I like a lot of things about what this guy does, and he's bigger than I thought he was.
I'm surprised you didn't mention this, but last year you're on record saying that Kenyon Drake was better than Jay Ajayi, and he should be getting the carries in Miami.
I did say that.
That's just another example of maybe where you've got something going on here. Because you said he was your 16th. That's exactly where I have him. And I think he's undervalued right now because he's going as the 23rd back, 7th pick, 4th round. I thought I was a bit high on Drake, but apparently 7 running backs is too high because I'm way off on his ADP right now. So maybe we're a little high on him. I don't know. But I obviously see a lot of the same things that you're doing. That you're seeing, I should say. And the last time Tannehill was healthy, that's when Jay Ajayi had that breakout fantasy season. And now that Tannehill is healthy, this offensive line is possibly as solidified as it's been in literally a decade. And yeah, Gore's going to get some work. But yeah, Drake's the lead back, and he can also make plays as a pass catcher. I actually think Gore might get more usage than I originally thought. But, man, you're really not going to rely on Gore when it matters the most. And Drake, at this point in his career, is much more explosive. So, would not mind Drake midway through the 4th. Not a guy I'm necessarily targeting, but I'm seeing what you're seeing. What scares me is, I'm not quite as low on the Dolphins' offense as everyone else, but I'm typically wrong on these things. So, if their offense is as bad as it may be, Adam Gase is a guy that will abandon the run, and that makes me a little bit nervous taking their running back in the 4th round.
No, I don't know. I like him. And then if he does, he's still going to be the guy who's on the field when they are throwing it much. So at least he's going to get the receptions.
In half-point and full-point leagues, if the Dolphins are down on the 4th and they're just doing these dump-off plays, Drake is the man to own.
That's what I love. That's what I love, those PPR running backs that get down a lot. Like, lots of guys don't want to grab those guys, but those defenses run like prevent defense, and then it's just like
take what they give you.
7 yards to the running back, 5 yards to the running back. Incredible.
I hate losing in leagues like that. Like you got like the Monday night game, and then you got a guy with a running back that's not that great, and they're down 14 or 20 points with the last 3 minutes, and they're just dumping it to him. You're just having a freaking heart attack.
Like, no, you fuck, throw it downfield.
It's terrible.
Take a chance. Yeah.
Who do you have ranked right ahead of Drake?
So I was a hater of this guy last
I
year.
thought you were going to say
And no, and I
Eminem.
pretty much no Christian McCaffrey at number 15. I pretty much nailed what he was going to be. Right? I said he was going to be more of a slot guy. Last year he was mostly. Whoa, I'm really fucking up with my voice
Adult
today.
onset puberty. It transferred from you to me, or me to you.
I was kind of burping, but and that's really what he was. But with the acquisition of C.J. Anderson,
Your boy.
I just have more confidence that he's going to get more carries this year because I think C.J. Anderson is absolute fucking trash. All right, people? C.J. Anderson is trash. Everybody's all excited about it. C.J. Anderson, Joe Mixon got all these or Jonathan Stewart got all these carries. Sorry, I was scrolling by and saw him. But I think you're going to see more opportunities to carry the ball. He's going to get the same amount of receptions. He's going to be a matchup problem. I mean, you can't. There's nothing really that wrong with Christian McCaffrey. I don't have lots of negatives on him. Besides,
You shouldn't.
I mean, I still do worry about a running between the tackle, but I just don't think there's anybody else there besides Cam Newton that's going to take those opportunities away. He did have more receiving yards last year than rushing yards and more receiving touchdowns
That's
than
fine.
rushing touchdowns,
All yards are created equal, man.
which is fine. So that even vaults him up higher. But I think you're going to see those receiving yards stay the same
Yep.
and touchdowns. But I think you're going to see those rushing yards and rushing touchdowns come up because now he's going to be used more as a runner, more as an Alvin Kamara now probably. And now that they saw what the Saints could do with with Alvin Kamara and that two-headed monster. But C.J. Anderson's no Mark Ingram at all.
No.
C.J. Anderson's just hot garbage. But I think I just can't imagine Christian McCaffrey's numbers not going up from last year.
No, I'm going to talk more about McCaffrey in our next episode because he falls into my top tier running backs. I have him number 11. I have nothing bad to say about this guy. Like I said, I'm going to talk more about
I
it.
got one thing.
Go what?
I got one thing bad to say about him.
Oh, I already know what that is. You can just leave that one alone.
Okay.
Is it because he looks like me?
Yeah, he looks just like you.
No, I've got him ranked 11th. He's going as like the last pick or close to the last pick in the second round, running back 15. So I honestly think you're getting really good value right there, especially in half and full point leagues. So yeah, I'm gonna talk about him more later. I'll save that, but dude, McCaffrey's a guy that I'm targeting. I really like him this year in fantasy.
These next two guys I've talked about extensively, so I'm going to try to do quick points on them. Number 14, I have Sony Michel. Again, I've talked about him week after week after week, it seems like. I just don't think Belichick... It almost gets repetitive for me to say this, so I'm sick of saying it, but Belichick wouldn't draft a guy in the first round that I don't think they're going to employ a lot. He drafted Sony Michel, a running back, in the first round. I imagine he's going to get a lot of touches, and he's playing in the Patriots offense.
Right.
So I don't think 14 is too high at all. And I am going to... What's his ADP? Let's see here. Sony is going fourth round, number 11, 4.11, right around Mark Ingram. I'm going to try to snag him before anybody. I mean, I might try to jump up to the third round and grab him. His ADP has moved up since the beginning of the
Yep.
draft season. He was around sixth round. And I loved him there because I was going to grab him on the fourth. Now I have to reach for him a little bit. But I'm very high on a guy that is a running back position that Bill Belichick doesn't value, that he grabs in the first round, that he moves up to grab, moves in to grab, back into the first round to grab, Sony Michel. He obviously likes something. He sees something. You know, he had that fumble at training camp, whatever, it's one. They'll fix that issue going into the season. I'm huge on him. And it just drops Rex Burkhead and James White down further for me.
Yeah, I thought I was high on Sony Michel, and then I saw your ranking, and you blew me out of the water. So
Yep.
I've got him ranked 31st, so he's not on my list of guys that are in these rankings that we're talking about him. But yeah, I like him for the same exact reasons that you do, and I think that I've said this before. I think it's going to be a lot of James White and a lot of Rex Burkhead early, and you're going to see Michel just pop in and be effective, and it's not going to take him very long to understand that Michel is the most talented running back on this team. And yeah, Belichick's going to play the guy who he feels confident with and that gives him mismatch problems, and that's exactly what Michel's going to do. The other guys are going to get touches. They're going to produce as well. But I think of those three main running backs there in New England, I think Michel's the one to own, and I don't mind him at all at his current ADP. I think we're on the same boat with him, except for you're steering the boat. Like, you put the fuel in it, you did everything to the boat. I'm just on it.
I love me some Sony Michel.
Nice. Who do you have ranked right before him?
All right, at 13, I have Derrick Henry. Last year was a real down year for him. It was just a real down year for that entire offense. He still finished as RB 25. I can handle that. 744 yards, 5 touchdowns, 136 yards, 1 receiving touchdown. I think you're going to see. I honestly think he's a better pass catcher than people really realize. Mm-hmm. So I think you see those yard numbers go up. I've hit on Dion Lewis a million times again. He's a guy that I just don't think people realize. He's coming from the New England Patriots offense, and they use guys differently and better than every other team in the NFL because they have Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. So those numbers are inflated. You see the same thing with the guy with wide receivers who leave Green Bay. Those numbers go way down. You'll see it with Jordy Nelson. You're going to see it with Dion Lewis. You've seen it with there was another running back I had pop in my head for the New England Patriots, and now I'm like, I could probably go and research and drop like 10 guys. Shane Vereen. Yeah. Guys like that.
Shane Vereen was
Rex Burkhead before he came to New England was doing nothing.
Right.
So it's just what they can do. Dion Lewis is not gonna. He's not going to be employed the same way. He doesn't have Tom Brady. He doesn't have Bill Belichick. Derrick Henry is going to be a carry monster. He's going to carry the ball a lot. The balance of the offense is going to be great. I just think they're going to return to 2 years ago, but he doesn't have DeMarco Murray in his way, and you're going to see DeMarco Murray type numbers from 2 years ago out of Derrick Henry. I really think that.
Man, that'd make him a baller, especially at his ADP, because Murray was a stud a couple of years ago for Tennessee.
He was a monster. I loved him.
Yep. I got him ranked 15th. He's going right now is like the second pick in the third round as the 16th running back. And of the guys that we're going to talk about, Henry's my guy. I was a year early on him. I know I was. But running back 16, third round, in my eyes, that's perfect for Henry. Literally, when I think about him going into this year, I just think back to last year's playoff game against the Chiefs, and I saw what Henry did when he was given those opportunities. And you can't watch that game and not think he doesn't have the talent to eventually be an RB1.
That playoff game. Yeah, I just recently watched that playoff game too. And the guy is a fucking monster.
He looked like he's a different person. That picture that you put up on your fantasy post where he's next to Dion Lewis, he looks like he could be Dion Lewis's father right now.
He ate Dion
and
Lewis.
Still be hungry for another Dion Lewis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Titans' offense, just like I talked about the Falcons' offense, I think they get on track this year, and I think that's going to benefit Henry. I think everyone's a little hesitant on Henry right now because of the fact that they brought in Lewis. I just don't see Lewis dominating these touches like some people are predicting. And I think Lewis is going to be a good football player for Tennessee, but I think Henry's the one to own in fantasy. I love Corey Davis. I like their tight ends. I like Rashard Matthews. But end of the day, Tennessee's a run-first team. Henry's the one that's built, literally, to own those touches. I am targeting Henry, and he's going to be mine. And if you're in a league with me, stay away, or you're going to steal my guy, and I'm going to trade all my picks for him.
What the Titans are trying to do is copy what the Saints did, and I think that's what the Niners are doing. I suppose the Niners can do it, but I just think that's what teams are doing there. It's a copycat league. They're trying to do it, but you see, just not all teams can do what other teams can do because they just don't have the same players around, the same type of team around those guys. So, every team is going to have their strengths. I think they're going to realize that that's not it, that Derrick Henry alone is their strength, and Dion Lewis will be used in situations, but not as extensively and not going to dominate as much as touches as much as people are predicting.
So he was your 13th, correct?
Yep.
Well, this bleeds in perfectly to go into the guys that I have ranked that you don't, because Dion Lewis is my 24th.
Yep.
Going as the third pick, 6th round, running back 29. I think he's properly ranked there. I'm a fan of Lewis, like I said, as a football player, and then I also like him in half and full PPR leagues. Personally, just said it, I'd rather have Henry at 3.02 than Lewis at 6.03. That might sound a little backwards, but that's just how I feel. But as you led on to earlier, are we getting the Dion Lewis that never made any waves whatsoever in Philly, or are we getting the Dion Lewis who produced pretty well in New England? And I think we're going to get a combination. I think Lewis got better. I think he learned. He got more experience in New England. But I just don't see him putting up those same type of numbers, literally because of what you just said, because it's New England's offense, and they scheme to take advantage literally each week, like as to what running back they're going to feature, and Lewis was a benefactor of that. And I just don't see that quite translating in Tennessee the way that it did in New England.
Next.
I was say you probably don't have anything to add after you just talked
I already
about him.
said all my words.
All right. Let's see. Let's go on. Oh, Jay Ajayi is my number 20 running back that you did not have. He's going as the 8th pick in the 3rd round. That's running back 19. I believe that is also properly ranked. This is a touchy subject with us because I was a believer last year, and you were right when you told me to cool it. But I think his ADP has leveled out to where he actually probably should have been last year. And now in Philadelphia, LeGarrette Blount's gone. I think Ajayi's workload increases because even though I like Corey Clement and I probably like him better at his ADP than Ajayi at his, I don't think Corey Clement's ready for like bulk work like Ajayi's going to get. I don't think they're going to try to save Ajayi. I think they're going to see an increase in his workload, and he's going to produce in one of the league's best offenses, and I think he actually will justify a 3rd-round pick. Little hesitant, but man, I would give him a chance this year.
I think Corey Clement has a better skill set than Jay Ajayi, and I don't think it's close at all. I think he can do a lot more things than he can, whether it's catch the ball or run the ball. His vision's a lot better. He's shiftier. He doesn't just try to bowling ball through one fucking specific hole.
There's one thing about Ajayi where I think that you're missing is he's got a little wiggle.
You said this every year, but he still does that. He keeps doing the same thing where he's running into guys and then
no one gets hit behind the line of scrimmage earlier than Jay Ajayi does, and he doesn't get stopped right there. He usually turns them into 3 or 4
yeah,
yard
he gets
gains.
1 or 2 yards. Awesome. He can break the tackle that he's running into and
That's
then
a
get
10th of the
tackled by
point
the
that you're
next
going
guy.
to need in your fantasy league, damn it.
No, it isn't, because I'm going to get 2 points out of that because he does that 12 times. But between Corey Clement, Darren Sproles, and Jay Ajayi, I can't justify having him ranked that high.
I would expect nothing less. I know you don't like Ajayi, so I know he's not on your radar, and he's sort of on mine. So
I hate him.
I digress. I don't know what that means. I'm going to go with my number 17 guy
either.
here.
What does that mean? People say, I digress. What does that mean?
It's one of those phrases where you use it because you understand when to use it, but you don't really understand why you would use it.
Yeah, it's like when you go on a rant about something and then you're back and forth, you're and then it's something you said, but I digress.
And I digress.
Like if something you repeated and then you say, but I digress.
Yes.
I don't really know what it means.
That's the
Can
insight
anybody
you
tell
get.
us what I digress means?
That's the insight you get on the podcast. If you know what it means, feel free to tweet us. We're found on Twitter @LoadedBox. We look forward to you teaching us some grammar.
English. Is it like concede? Hey, we haven't talked about anything else besides this shit. So why aren't you drinking tonight?
Why am I not drinking? Because I drank enough on Saturday to kill 3 8-year-olds, a horse, and another newborn.
You know what I'm going to post to Instagram is that picture you took sent to me at 1:30 in the morning.
Oh, man. I don't remember taking that. I remember looking through my phone and saying, wow, that didn't even look like me. It looked like...
What? There was speckles everywhere.
Yeah, what was
Did you
that?
throw up on the mirror or what the hell happened there?
I don't know. Apparently, I was told the next day that I got cut off at 2 different bars. We had a bachelorette party. I didn't know how that was going to turn out. And it turned out exactly how every other bachelor party turns out. With me passed out and getting stories told about my actions the next time. But
I can't believe that shit.
as one of our friends once said, it's not like I'm running for mayor.
How did you even just trying to talk to you yesterday was just a shit show.
Yeah.
I couldn't communicate. We couldn't do a podcast. It was awful.
Yeah, we're recording a little bit late due to my hangover. So thanks for hanging with us through that one. My 17th ranked running back is a guy that is dead to you. It's LaShawn McCoy.
Yep.
He is technically the 17th ranked running back right now. 3rd pick, 3rd round. I haven't ranked exactly where his ADP puts him at, but I think that's overvalued. I was already low on McCoy in that offense, age 30. Now he's got allegations of his old girlfriend, whatever she is to him. That could turn into a suspension. So yeah, I don't really like the situation there. He's been great in fantasy football. I mean, he was a running back 1 finisher the last couple of years. I think we're going to see that come to an end I don't think you would be surprised at all if he ended as like a mid or a low RB2 in 2018, depending on how many games he plays. I'm avoiding him, and that's not based solely on the allegations either. I was already low on him. I have him ranked for the sake of, like, if he's there, you probably gotta take him. But I would pass. I would actually probably go a little bit lower.
Look, people, listen. I am not going to put a guy in my rankings. I'm going to take a stand here for all my. I was going to use a derogatory term, but let's say for all my women.
For all my ladies.
For all my ladies. He's not going in my rankings at all. He doesn't exist. He is not an R. He's not rated. If we get a week out, I'll throw him in there for everybody. In my top 12, guaranteed. If we get a week out, I'll throw him inside my top 12 because I do like his running style and him as a running back, but not as a person, because it seems negative right now. But
right.
Guy, I'm not going to rank a guy I don't know if he's going to play this entire season or ever again in his entire career. So I'm just going to leave him off and come back to it in 3 to 4 weeks. 4 weeks.
There's way too many question marks around that. That's why I'm a firm believer, and I love that I'm in all the leagues that we're in. Draft literally like after like the 4th preseason game. You have to do a ton of drafts at the end, but that's how it should be. Like if you're drafting
100%.
now, like in like a standard league, like a redraft league, and it's your same group over and over and over again, talk to your commissioner and get that backed up. Just because like you got to know more. I don't like going into a draft where you have no idea what his future is going to hold. Like you said, he could never play another snap again, or he could play week 1. We just don't know.
Yeah, all our drafts are Labor Day weekend or later. And the first game's on that Thursday. So that's how you do it.
Bingo. All right, I got 2 guys left. I have Joe Mixon, then I have the surprise of the episode. So at 14, I've got Joe Mixon. He's going as the 8th pick, 2nd round. That's running back 13. I think that's properly ranked. I like him since I think he's going to get opportunities, and I truly do believe he is a good player. What I don't like is that he's with the Bengals, and they don't have the best track record with running backs recently. So I do think the volume's going to be there to warrant this pick and the amount of points he's probably projected to get. I would just prefer someone else at this point in the 2nd round. If there's not a running back there, I don't feel like I want to reach for Mixon for the sake of getting the running back. I feel like I'd rather get the receiver there that I really feel has got an opportunity to score more points on a consistent basis. Because when I look at Joe Mixon, I see some boom weeks that are going to be really nice, and I truly do see some dud weeks that are just going to bury you if you're drafting him as the 13th overall running back.
Bury. Well, in my Monday morning mock draft I released this morning, so go to loadedboxpodcast.com. Check out my article I just dropped, retweeted a couple times on the twitter.com. Loaded Box under mine, under Ben's, all that good stuff on Facebook. You can find it anywhere. I did talk about Joe Mixon. I gave my least favorite pick and my favorite pick. He went down as one of my least favorite picks. If you listen to this podcast, you know. I don't. Again, you mentioned the offense. I hate the offense. I hate Marvin Lewis. Don't know who is on that team. The offensive line hasn't really improved. They've had, added a tackle, but, up the middle, still not that good. Not anything I'd get excited about. A team that's going to be behind a lot. Maybe you can argue that he's going to get receptions because of that. If you think that Marvin Lewis is going to just not employ Gio Bernard because that's what he does, I think you don't know who Marvin Lewis is, because he's going to continue to do what he always does. He's not going to change. He says it, but he's going to throw Gio Bernard out there, and he's going to piss off all you Joe Mixon owners, and I'm going to say, I told you so. I'm not touching the guy. Not touching him.
Yeah, I see exactly what you're saying. I just think that's too early. I do think there's going to be more volume, maybe a little bit more than what you're predicting or projecting there.
He's going to have volume. No, he'll have volume. He's just not going to be successful in it.
Yeah, I get the hesitation. I'd almost like to get him just because I'm in so many damn leagues, and the fact that maybe he breaks off, I get lucky in one league, but I don't really like to work that way. I'd rather have a bunch of teams with the same players, and hopefully that pans out.
Yeah.
So, all right, you ready for the shocker of the episode?
Yeah, I still don't know, actually, so I'm interested.
All right, well, you're going to talk about him in the next episode because I have a feeling that you're really high on him.
Okay.
My number 13 running back is none other than the New York Giants' Saquon Barkley.
Oh, get the fuck out of here.
Because he is currently the 5th running back going as the 6th pick in your fantasy drafts. And folks, 3 words: way too high. How the hell are you going to take a rookie running back for the Giants, 6th overall, ahead of guys like Antonio Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, Leonard Fournette, Alvin Kamara, Melvin Gordon, Odell Beckham Jr.? There is 0% chance that I end up with Saquon Barkley this year because, yeah, I like him. I'm like everyone else. I see what everyone else sees. Don't get me wrong. He's a great football player. The Giants did make a mistake taking him. That's for another day. I clearly don't like him as much as everyone else does, though, because how the hell are you going to take a Giants running back when a Giants running back hasn't produced in forever, and you're taking him as the 6th pick in the first round with all those guys on the board? It just does not add up to me. It's borderline crazy.
I'll give you 3 reasons why you're going to take a rookie running back that high.
Shoot him.
Kareem Hunt, Alvin Kamara, and Leonard Fournette. Those are 3 reasons.
Jordan
3
Howard
guys
and Zeke Elliott. And,
but I'm just talking guys from last year. Those are 3 guys who finished inside the top 10, right?
Yep.
3 rookie
running
backs that finished inside the top 10. You're not just talking any Giants running back here, all right? I mean, they haven't had a running back that anybody's ever liked ever.
Clearly, no.
I've never heard hype on a running back in the last 8 years, probably.
Oh, no.
Going into that Giants offense.
No.
Like, I've never been excited about a running back going into that offense. It's not somebody I've been overhyped.
You got to go back to Tiki Barber.
I mean, Ahmad Bradshaw, maybe.
Oh,
but
Bradshaw,
yes. Like, I can't. He is the best prospect to come out of college. I mean, for a long time. I was excited about Leonard Fournette. This guy passes Leonard Fournette up in my eyes, and Leonard Fournette finished as number 8. So I don't think we could pick him too high. I'd almost be willing to take him over David Johnson. I'm honestly not even lying about that. This guy's skill set is just you're so phased. Oh gosh, he says like you're gonna see like you're hurt,
dude. All right, so
like
get this though. All right, I see what you're saying. I know there's hype. I know he's next level compared to everyone they had, and they would be fools not to get him involved through the running game, through the passing game. I get that. But look at the guys that you're taking him over. Leonard Fournette is guaranteed to touch the ball 20 times a game. DeAndre Hopkins can produce with me at quarterback playing left-handed. Antonio Brown has been on one of the all-time best wide receiver heaters in fantasy football. Alvin Kamara came out of left field last year and dominated every single week. Melvin Gordon is one of the most underrated fantasy football running backs year in and year out. And Odell Beckham Jr., if he wouldn't have been hurt last year, you know damn well he would have produced, and he's done nothing but produce ever since he's been in the league. So how can you take your chance as the 6th overall pick in the draft on a guy that's never been in an NFL game over all of those guys that I just mentioned? That's what I can't justify at that pick.
I would take him 7th. I would take those 4 running backs. So Bell, Gurley, Johnson, and Zeke.
Yep.
I would take Odell, and I would take DeAndre.
Okay.
And then I would take Saquon after those guys.
No Antonio Brown?
Oh, sorry.
See, you're just slowly moving Barkley down the order. This is what I'm talking people into.
Hold on.
Now all of a sudden
I meant Antonio Brown, DeAndre. Okay, maybe I would take him 8th. Maybe I don't know where I am on Odell. I'm more Antonio Brown and DeAndre Hopkins. I would 100% take him ahead of them. I would be a coin toss between Saquon Barkley and Odell Beckham if I got there.
Like I said, I mean, people are taking him. If you want him, you have to take him that early, just because that's...
But there's nobody else I would take ahead of him. Besides, potentially, no, there's not a single other person.
For you, I get it. And we'll talk more about it because I guarantee you he's going to be in your next thing. So we can cut it out, I guess, for now. But I don't know. That's literally... I have to put him there. Just I know I'm not going to get him. I literally know I'm not going to get him with that attitude, but it's what I have to do. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I might even hype myself up so high on him that I grab him as like the 5th guy.
You're going to panic and take him like number 3 overall.
I mean, I could see myself doing it. I could be like, oh, I really want him. I need him. Whatever.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Well, thanks again for listening. As always, tweet any questions you'd like answered on the podcast at Loaded Box. Check out our website, loadedboxpodcast.com, for our latest articles, our podcasts, our fantasy rankings. We are available in iTunes by searching Loaded Box, and as of today, we are also available on Google Play. So if you have one of those other phones that are not an iPhone, make sure that you are subscribing there. The next episode, we will carry on our running back rankings as we go into the top 12 in each of our rankings. So with that, thanks once again for tuning in, and DJ, why don't you send us out?
Bye.